Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of B Chat. And this is B. It's episode 7, very, very special episode. Sort of. Got the first, I think, subscriber on YouTube the other day. And I was like, dang, I got to record another one. Because anywhere where you read online or anything about anyone who's putting out content and stuff is you just got to keep doing it and put out a lot for your fans. And that's really what they love. And I got a little busy the past few days and I saw that subscriber. I don't even know if it's real. That's another thing that you'll learn when you first start posting things online is that a lot of people will just kind of like your stuff or follow your stuff just to kind of get their own thing, just to get it like, you itch my back, I'll itch your back. So I don't know how sincere it is, but after I upload this one, I'm going to kind of look into the analytics and see what's going on. But just made me really happy because even if it's not a real subscriber, just the placebo effect kind of hit me and I'm like, man, like, yeah, if people really find this stuff fun and useful or good, like good content, it's really easy for me to put out. So I'll just keep doing it like all the time. So I think on SoundCloud is really easy to upload, by the way, guys. If you ever want to put up music or podcast, it's free and it's been the easiest one. But every single platform has their own like audience and ease of use and reach. So it kind of really depends on what you're trying to do. So I think I've said this a few times. I'm really a big fan of YouTube. So if you guys want to support this podcast, I'd definitely say subscribe on YouTube, thumbs up on YouTube, leave comments on YouTube. I also threw this up on Anchor. Anchor's a podcast app, and they're really good because you can pretty much throw your stuff up on there, and they'll automatically distribute it to like 5, 6, 7 places, including Spotify. And I'm not going to lie, it's pretty dope seeing your stuff up on Spotify, even though it's not getting a whole lot of attention. It's just like, makes you feel legit. You're like, oh, snap. Like, there's Travis Scott and Drake, and there's my podcast. So it's kind of a cool feeling. So BChat is officially on quite a few channels now. I think pretty much everything except for iTunes or Apple, which does take a little bit more intricate like stuff that you have to submit. So I'm going to work on that this weekend probably and try to get it up there because every channel has, you never know who you're going to find. So definitely want to get this out to as many places as possible. But yeah, so for today's chat, I don't even feel like I should call these episodes. I think I'm just going to start calling them chats because they're so quick. That's kind of the theme and it's kind of one thing I like. But it was funny because this concept has come up multiple times in my life and I'm super guilty of this myself. But I was actually chatting with someone and after it's kind of messed up. I was chatting with them, this happened, and then I was like, oh, I got to write this down or something. So I think I pretended to text someone and just made a note on my phone, and I just remembered I have to talk about this. But it's basically this concept of people, I don't know why, but I don't know if you've noticed, but it's like people are so like embarrassed or shy of or ashamed of not knowing something that you know. So it doesn't sound that complicated, but it's a big deal because I was talking to this person the other day and I mentioned, I think we were talking, he was asking like about my work or something. And I told him like, with coronavirus, like a lot of things have slowed down, but some of the webinars that my clients are doing really well because people are stuck at home. They don't have anything to do. So a lot of the digital and virtual stuff, businesses that are set up properly for that, they're actually not doing so bad. Some of them are actually doing better in that aspect than they ever have. And so, but it's funny. It was a really small moment where he was like, I said that and he was like, hey, webinar? And I was like, oh yeah, and so maybe it was partly my fault. Like I gave that like verbal that communication that like you're supposed to, like, oh yeah, you should know what a webinar is, bro, like, but it was just I could tell he felt a little uncomfortable, and then he was like a webinar, and then I was like, oh yeah, like a webcast, or when someone's on a like a webcam giving a presentation or an instructional or anything, it could be technically a webinar could be a meeting just on Google Hangouts that's recorded and put in places or whatever. But the point is that he was just like, oh yeah, like, okay, cool. And then he's a smart dude, I could tell. So he just kind of we just kept on talking and stuff. But that really small thing is so important for how fast you're going to get to your goals and develop. Because I realized that the fact that he didn't feel comfortable saying, hey, I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, I'm not, that's not my background. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. Can you explain it to me? like that would have gotten him so much more like knowledge, and he would have learned so much more in a shorter amount of time. Because at the end of the day, like, not looking at anything personal, just look at it things completely objectively. You want to get to things faster. That's kind of the recipe for success. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the more, if you don't act like if you don't know something and you're talking to someone and it seems like they know a lot about this and that makes you uncomfortable, instead of being shy about it, if you address it, I know it's hard. I'm talking like I'm the expert. I suck at this too. Like, I struggle with this forever. I think that's why I picked up on it and I'm sensitive about it, because I used to do that all the time. Like, I would lie about, like, people would be talking about movies, like, oh yeah, this movie was so dope, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that part with the dude, and like I hadn't even seen it, and I do that all the time. I used to lie, like little lies like that all the time. So I was insecure. And it's one thing to be insecure when you're in high school or something and you want to be cool, but not when you're out in the real world and it's career, and you're trying to get stuff done, and you're trying to take yourself to the next level. Like, there's no room for that, man. Like, that's what people talk about, being humble and having humility. It's not about like being like Jesus or Muhammad or anything. It's literally to help you be like to help you make more money, to help you get to where you want to go faster. People respect. There's a couple things that are important about, like, not being shy and not being scared to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you I want to know more about it. One, people respect people that are real, like people that are actually successful, respect that. Because guess what? They're used to a lot of yes men, and they're used to a lot of people just nodding their heads and being like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. The person that's sincere and genuine is like, hey, like, you're saying a lot of stuff I don't really know. I'm sorry, I may not be up to date. Can you kind of break that down for me? They're gonna be like, oh shit, like, this person is actually listening. Like, because you shouldn't know about this stuff. Like, it's anything worth knowing or worth doing is hard. If something's hard, it's very unlikely that everyone's just gonna like be so hip to it. So that's number one, is that it actually garners a lot of respect from real people that are legit. Number two is that it's going to help the other person. When someone explains something, when someone teaches something, it forces them to reevaluate the thing that they're trying to teach from a different lens or perspective. And the beautiful thing is that it doesn't matter how many, like, let's say someone's a master at something. If you're super good at something, you probably don't mind the redundancy and the basics of it like most people would. That's why you're awesome at it. So having the opportunity to teach someone else that's genuinely interested, or to explain to someone else that's genuinely curious, that's going to help them. Even especially, this is just a little tidbit, getting a little off topic, but older people that don't work anymore, or maybe they lost their family and they're getting older and older. And one of the things that keeps them happy and keeps them going is the idea that they're passing off knowledge and information to the next generation. How are they going to do that if no one says that they need that information? Think about it. So if everyone is, and I don't even think it's the funny part is, it's not like people are bad, like they're trying to be cocky and say that they know everything. It's a fear thing. They're scared. This is the theme of this show. This is the theme of this podcast. It was fear versus love, and how that affects, your success. Like, not in a cheesy way, how that literally affects how you're going to do it, in your life, in different aspects of your life. But yeah, it's not that people are, that's the other thing that's frustrating about it. Because when I was talking to that guy, it's like, I knew this was a nice guy, but when he said, like, when he kind of brushed off, that the thing we were talking about, that I could obviously tell he didn't know anything about, and he could tell I knew a lot about, I could tell it wasn't that he was trying to be like, show me that he's smart or competent. He was like, he freaked out that, oh, I don't know this thing. This guy knows it. I don't want to look dumb. He probably liked me. He probably thought I was cool or whatever. He probably wanted me to be his friend or whatever. And so that's the shitty part. That's the part that I want everyone to kind of focus on, is that it's so funny. It's like the fear of wanting people to like you is literally keeping people dumb. Dumb's a mean word. I shouldn't say dumb, but it's keeping them inhibited from being at the potential that they really could be. That's why if you see like a lot of people who get a lot of stuff done, or maybe someone that wasn't really someone in your life that wasn't very like didn't really work super hard and wasn't very quote unquote successful, and then something changed, maybe a life event happened or something, and then all of a sudden they turn into this person that works super hard and is really committed and whatever. Maybe some other environmental changes happen, but I think a lot of that is they lose the fear of caring what people think. And that goes way more than just like status or how you feel about yourself in society. Like, oh, I don't care what people think. I'm confident. It's literally like it's gonna stop you if you don't. You shouldn't say I don't care what people think, but if you're not scared of people thinking you're dumb, because you know you're not dumb. Come on, like most people I meet in my life have a pretty good intelligence. They're usually not where they want to be in life, or aren't getting the grades that they want, or aren't getting the results that they want because they're inhibited in some way. Today's podcast, the concept that we're talking about is fear of other people thinking you're not competent. You're not good enough. You don't, and that comes from your parents, that comes from your family. But look how it's messing with you in today's life. Look how it's messing with you trying to get a promotion or trying to get into med school or whatever the case may be. And again, the tough part is, or not the tough, but the proof in the pudding is the opposite end of the spectrum. Again, the person who's not like that, who hears something, maybe you're talking to someone and they're talking about something that intimidates you because you don't know anything about it. They know a lot about it, and it sounds like something that's the other thing, is that when people are talking about something that they feel that they should know something about, like, that's why it really bugs me when like people that are in like, that use a lot of like bullshitty buzzwords just to sound smart, like marketing and SEO, and they just try to like, it's almost like they're just speaking this other language that they were inundated with, and now they're trying to pass it off just to sound smart, but that they don't realize how uncomfortable that makes a lot of people feel. And it doesn't help them because no one's calling them out and being like, hey, can you explain that to me? Because they're doing it in a way that's so fast and obvious that they're just trying to like fill in the holes, but it's like, it's not so ineffective. It's so ineffective. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that's something I was thinking about a lot yesterday and today, but it's like, it's helped me so much in my life. Like, and you know, the funny part is it's also a good test. If you like find yourself kind of bullshitting yourself through conversations because you don't feel like you know as much or you should know more, and you don't want this other person to think you're dumb, wait till the day when you don't, like, there's going to be something in your life that happens. It may happen because of the stage you're at in life, or it just could be something that you've never seen or experienced before that you're like, oh, I really love this. And you won't care about looking dumb. You're going to ask. You're going to inquire. You're going to bug people. You're going to ask questions, 2 questions, 3 questions. And a lot of the times I feel like people aren't really doing what they want. So they let the fear is too strong because you don't have the passion for what you're really doing. But once you do, and again, this doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a career. It could be a hobby. It could be like yoga or something, or hiking. It's good, whatever. So that's a bad example, but something that you just never experienced. You experience it. You fall in love. You'll see the difference that, man, how is this person so much better at this than me? They're never that. It's like, oh, because they don't care, because they love this thing. They're not so scared of looking dumb. The fear is not running them. The passion is, the love is, and those are the people that are successful time and time again, over and over, year after year. It's hard. I wish like that's one of the reasons why I want to start this podcast, just to get these ideas more casual and out there, because it can be kind of overwhelming and deep for some people, but it's the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, the more it helps. And I feel like one day in the future, there's going to be more like just apps and widgets and technology and things that'll help with this. But I think just listening to other people that have gone through it and have overcome and want other people to do the same thing, I think that's a big, big help too. So with that being said, Brett brings this episode to an end. About 14 minutes today, not too shabby. But yeah, thanks for joining me for episode 7. Again, these podcasts are now officially on a number of different channels, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. I'd say those are the main ones. Anywhere where Anchor uploads podcasts, this will be there. And there's also a website. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. I have officially launched the website. Domain names are super hard to get, so the one that we got is b-chat.club. So I thought, like a club, that's kind of cool, start creating a little following, and people that like this probably have common interests. So there were a lot of just random names that didn't make sense and they were really expensive. So I got bchat.club. There's a dash in between the B and the C. So b-chat.club. All the podcasts are on there, audio and YouTube video form. There's also a newsletter form. If you sign up for that, you'll never miss a new episode. Keep in touch with me. And I believe there's also a subscribe button. So if you hit the subscribe button on the homepage, you'll automatically be subscribed to YouTube videos. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys next time.